Hi, this is the syllabus for Shakespeare, English 240. My name is Andrew Hoffman. This is for the fall 2020 semester, and this class is being conducted in a strictly online environment. So, because of that, one of the first things you may notice in the syllabus is I don't have my office, and I don't have office hours, and I don't have an office phone. I can't go to the office. The only thing that you do have here is my district email account. I will say that there is another way to contact me, and that will be through the Canvas web portal that has a message system as well. So you actually have two ways to contact me this semester. Now there's a single required text for the class, and that is the Norton Shakespeare, now in the 3rd edition. This is an ebook. Now I'm not unaware that Shakespeare is a little popular, and there are many editions of Shakespeare out there, including a lot of free online editions. This is not free. It is not terribly expensive, at least I think in terms of school books, it's not. It is slightly under $50. There are a couple of things that you get for your $50. First of all, this is the complete works of Shakespeare all in one place. You get it for the rest of your life, and you get the editorial work of Stephen Greenblatt, who, if I can use an oxymoron, is probably the most famous English professor. Okay, that's like not that famous, right? Famous English professor alive today. More importantly than that, right, it's all that editorial work, the textual work, the definitions, the analysis that Greenblatt provides. You get all that. So if you choose to go it alone, you will not be getting that. Okay, and that's up to you, right? That's up to you. The recommended text is the MLA Handbook, simply because we do write essays in this class. Hopefully you're already familiar with MLA due to earlier composition courses that you have taken. Catalog course description. This is a description of what this course is about. It's straight out of the catalog. If you actually own the catalog, you would know that, but who does? This course is a survey of William Shakespeare's work. Emphasis is placed on analyses of representative plays and poems from the perspectives of theme, character, structure, and language in historical and contemporary context. This course is designed for students majoring in English and those with a general interest in the author or the period. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Next are the course learning objectives, which kind of details what we're going to be going through. I don't want to read through that. It takes too much time. Please read through that on your own. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. But quite frankly, it has no surprises. It encapsulates what we're going to talk about. Course learning outcomes, oh my God, only the deans really love these. These are higher level goals. These are not particular to Shakespeare, but more particular to the English program itself. Okay, so if you like that, great, wonderful. Otherwise, we can just pass by. Things to keep in mind. So, the first thing to keep in mind is that you got to participate. This is a online course, so I'm not in the classroom with you, and I can't directly encourage you face-to-face to do something. You have to do it on your own, including all the work. So if you fail to participate in the classwork, such as the discussion threads, which we have every week, and the paper assignments, of which there are 4, if you're not doing anything for 2 weeks or more, you may be dropped from the course. I will try to contact you, give you some time to explain yourself and say, hey, what's going on? Maybe you have a verifiable medical excuse, a legal excuse, you've been in prison, who knows? Otherwise, you'll be dropped from the course, okay? Some important dates. The first important date is August the 28th, okay? August the 28th is the end of the 2nd week of the semester, and it's basically intended to be a schedule adjustment period, so any changes during that time do not show up on your syllabus. Now after that, you have until October the 23rd to receive a W. Okay, now most of you are probably already familiar with the college grading system, but I will remind you that a W is not an F, it is not a 0. Everybody gets a W now and then. However, there are 3 things I want you to think about. First of all, you don't want to get a lot of W's because that could negatively impact you and you could wind up on academic probation. The school wants you to finish most of the classes that you attempt. Secondly, and I'm not sure how likely this is in the fall 2020, if you're a student athlete, that is, you're on one of our Mesa College athletic teams, you have to maintain a certain number of units per semester. If you fall below that number of units, you will be dropped from the team. But the most important issue and most widespread issue is financial aid. Many times when you receive financial aid, there is a condition that you maintain a certain number of units. If you drop a class and you fall below that number of units, you may no longer qualify for that financial aid and may, in fact, have to pay money back. If you're not certain about your situation, I encourage you to speak to a counselor. Not to me, I don't know. Speak to a counselor. Now, after October 23rd, if you're still on my roster, you've got to get a grade in the class, even if you stop attending. If you stop attending, or I should say participating, because this is an online class, if you stop participating for the last third of the semester, you can pretty much be sure that you will get an F. Okay? So I put this in bold. You are in charge of your own enrollment status. This includes adding the class by the add deadline and or dropping it by the drop deadline. Now, point 4, you will see this pretty soon. Each assignment will have a specific due date and time. The time, unless otherwise noted, will be 11:59 p.m. Okay, so basically the day that something is due, you actually still have that full day to get it done. However, work not turned in receives an F, and that is a 0. Okay, and you can't cheat on Canvas. Canvas never goes to sleep. Canvas knows when you turned work in. It has a nice little timestamp. If it's late, it is marked late. You can't get around that. If you know you're going to be late because you have a verifiable illness or some other legitimate excuse, please contact me ahead of time. Please know that family vacations and employment conflicts are not legitimate reasons to be late for work. Okay? That's why you're taking a class online, so you can do the work anyway. Now, 5 is something that you'll also see in action pretty soon. All assignments have minimum requirements, and work that fails to meet the minimum requirements may be given a grade of C- or less on the basis of that alone. The reason is simple. The minimum requirements define the assignment. Minimum requirements are typically objective considerations, not subjective. Objective. They're things like how many words is in the essay? How many sources did you use? And these are a simple yes, you did, or no, you didn't. There's never any attempt on my part to be tricky, okay? But if you are unclear about a requirement, please ask. Now, everybody likes to hear about the grades. How are the grades determined? Well, there are 2 major things that are happening in this class. First are the essays that you're going to write. There will be 4 of them over the course of the semester. So that's 40%, 10% each. And there will be weekly discussion threads, which are 60%. So in other words, more of the class grade is determined from these discussion threads. And I will admit, I think it's fairly easy to get good grades on the discussions if you are participating. I will have a video that talks about how to do discussion threads in a way that will get you maximum credit. Please make sure that you watch that. Now, at the end of the semester, on Canvas, Canvas does all the hard math, comes up with a percentage. If you're in a gray area between 2 grades, which I define as being plus or minus 2% on the percentage scale, matters such as improvement over the course may be used to guide my determination of the final grade. So in other words, if you get an 88.5, that's not automatically a B. If you have shown good effort, you have improved over the course of the semester, you maybe were struggling at the beginning and got lower grades, but you picked up the work and did well, got higher grades, that would argue that I should push that 88.5 to an A. On the other hand, if it works the other way around, you started off strong, then you fell off, maybe you lost interest or what have you, the grades started to fall, maybe the final paper is a disappointment, that would argue that that 88.5 really should be a B. Item 7. This is true for any class you take on campus, any class, whether the teacher remembered to put it in their syllabus or not. Students with disabilities who may need academic accommodations should discuss options with their professors during the first 2 weeks of class. Okay, so make sure that that happens. Point 8 is about cheating. Cheating is wrong. Everybody knows it. What is it? It's taking work done for another class by either yourself or somebody else and turning it in. You found a great essay online and turned it in. You found a book or an article that said some really interesting stuff and you used it without attribution and you turned that in. You turned in a paper you wrote in your high school AP class and decided to just brush it off and turn it in again. That's cheating. Okay, so if you want to really read through this syllabus, you can do this on your own, but the main thing to remember is cheating is a big no-no. Those found guilty of plagiarism may receive an F or a 0 on the assignment, suspension from the class in which you're not allowed to participate and you don't get to make up the work, an F in the course, and or expulsion from the college as per procedure 3100.3. And folks, we don't want to see procedure 3100.3. I've gone a couple semesters without having to take a look at procedure 3100.3. I'm really hoping to keep that going. Last point. Please stay in contact, either through my district email or through the message system on Canvas. If you have a question for me that you send to me, I will try to get back to you within 48 hours, but usually more quickly than that. You also need to be on Canvas on a daily or every other day basis so that you do not miss announcements, messages, or emails that I send out. Okay, mostly I send out emails when I'm trying to communicate to the class because I'm hoping, for instance, that the email system may be connected to your cell phones, which I believe are now at this point biologically interfaced with your body. Please allow 48 hours, 72 on the weekend. In the event that you feel a need for a face-to-face conference, we can schedule one at a mutually convenient time on Zoom. There will be no real actual face-to-face. I'm sorry about that. Some assignment due dates to look over. Just kind of maybe put it in your calendar ahead of time. The comedy, history, sonnet, tragedy, right? The 4 major issues that were, not issues, but genres that we're going to be looking at. Okay. And the materials are always due at 11:59 on those days. Obviously, with each of these, I will be detailing at the time, most specifically, what is expected. Standards for literature essays. This is something that you might want to read on your own. It is what we call a narrative rubric. Basically describes why essays get the grades that they get. Basically speaking, right, if you read through, you'll get a pretty good sense of this, right? Lastly is the MLA format. This is a template, if you will, for how your essays should look when they're turned in. Obviously typed, double-spaced, reasonable font size, reasonable margins. You can read through this. You can use this as a direct model template for when you're working. A couple other mentions down here. MLA Handbook is the guide for all things in documentation in English. We do have a handout for this class called the Out-of-Class Essay Guidelines. You want to look that over. There's a video that goes with that. And the tips for MLA in literature class, same thing. Good luck this semester.